This episode is brought to you by the travel agency. Now boarding, taking off by flower, edible, or pre-roll. The travel agency. A cannabis store.
Through hallways and alleys, dark days I carry, sharp pains and bellies. All days be heavy when you're programmed to survive. Legendary ciphers get the MCs in the jars. The city never sleeps, slept from 1 to 5. When COVID hit the block and we had to stay inside. Tough love is all I know, so be gentle with my soul. Learn to navigate winters with no coat. If you never been cold, you never been broke. Hustle 24/7 just to stay afloat. So New York, like dollar pizza in that cold world shit. That real life grit from the heart of the city is as hard as it gets. This that New York shit. That real life grit from the.
Happy 2026, everyone. My name is
Happy 2026.
Professor Terrence Coffie.
And I'm Jamil Myrie. And this is Cannabis in the City. We're right here in the BX, holding it down.
Once again.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I first wanted, before we get started, I really want to thank our viewers for 3 amazing shows already and for subscribing and supporting us in this work. We thank you for your engagement and involvement in creating real change within our community and in this industry. I had to get that off.
Hey, I completely co-sign on that. So thank you for expressing our gratitude to our viewership, our listenership, and the world. So greetings from the BX.
From the BX. How was your New Year's, bro?
New Year was good. It was good. It was quiet. You know, I needed that. I needed some stillness. It's been a lot of noise, a lot of movement, a lot, particularly in our industry, in the cannabis
we got
space.
a lot happening this year coming up. We got a lot happening. We'll talk about that in community news. So,
okay.
I know we got some special guests on.
Yeah, I know.
Very special.
Before we jump on the special guest, I got it because, I got to give it back to you. Private Benjamin here is like doing his thing, I mean, camoed out, bro. What's up? What's the theme today? What's going on?
I'm in a political war right now. I am absolutely in my own political war right now with so much that's going on in our society. Some things happen at the federal level regarding rescheduling and some other things that are going on that are really important to what's happening nationally, but specifically what's happening here in New York. And we're going to hear from our Justice Lab during this segment. They'll be sharing some amazing insights on the work that's happening.
Yeah. Well, I wear my camo on the inside, it's spiritual warfare.
Yeah, it's still
the
same war.
But enough of that. We have some amazing guests here for you today that we're going to be jumping into how you, in essence, can get into this industry without actually owning a license. Anyway, more to come. Our guests, LeVar Thomas and Shane Breen, the founders of Silly Nice, are in the building, and we are going to burn it down.
You're going to burn it down. And our legal assistants from our Justice and Cannabis Lab, Sean Farrow and Jeffrey Hoffman, will absolutely be here with all the updates that's going to happen over this period of time to bring us up to date.
And there is a very special one-on-one with our special co-host, Kitty Rose, for Corner Boyz.
Yeah.
So that's be something that I'm not going to spill the beans on that. So basically, I'm going to say, sit back, relax, grab your cognac, whatever it is. I'm not a rapper. I might play one on TV sometimes. Nah, I don't. And we're going to do what? We're going to spark the conversation. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Peace, fam, and welcome back to Let's Talk Cannabis. So far this season, we've talked about legalization, jobs, and capital the almighty dollar. The next real question that people have been asking is, so if I can't afford a license, how do I still build something real? Everybody talking about cannabis licenses, and how can I get one? However, very few discuss ownership without it. So what if I told you some of the most powerful opportunities in cannabis don't require touching the plant at all? Well, today we're going to bust open a whole new lane, one that most black and brown folks don't know is wide open. It's the largest, and in my professional opinion, most accessible entry point to ownership without a license. We're talking about the ancillary cannabis market, specifically building a cannabis brand without owning a plant-touching license, and what it actually takes from soup to nuts. I'm joined today by LeVar Thomas and Shane Breen, the founders of Silly Nice, one of the very few black and veteran-owned cannabis brands built right here in New York. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for
Yes.
having
Really appreciate it.
Happy 2026.
2026
and all
is
that's
here.
set for us to achieve,
Yes.
right? You know? Well, we're super, super excited to have you here. Y'all are really like on some boss energy, like real laid back. I mean, really owning the chair. It's cool. It's cool. I'm trying to match your energy.
Yeah.
So before we talk business, strategy, or opportunity, because every real brand begins with a lived experience. So let's go back, let's run it back. Before Silly Nice was a brand people recognize, before the beautiful website, and it is beautiful,
Thank you.
before the products and the packaging. What was the spark? What made you say, this is something we need to build?
We love weed.
Yeah, I'm a connoisseur.
We've been going to Amsterdam for like 25 years just to smoke hash and weed.
Yeah, just be where it's legal, and now that it's legal here, absolutely love that.
Oh man, so no more freaking flying miles. Like,
No, we still go.
oh, you still go. All right,
yeah.
all right.
It's an
Okay.
environment.
Nah, that's what's up. So I know a lot of folks hear cannabis and immediately think you need to own a license just to participate. But that's not the only path. What led you to focus on building a brand instead of chasing a plant-touching license?
So we actually started working in this industry before even thought about putting out a brand. We were working with the dispensary owners, telling their stories,
Okay.
and then that led to us meeting processors, farmers, all of the card coalition, and then we decided to start our own brand.
And also supporting other initiatives like CJEI. We supported the other projects like the Lost Prisoner Project, and there was a few
for
others.
years.
So we're about that equity.
That's what's up. So
Yeah.
equity drove the vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the love of weed.
And the love of weed. All right, well, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
Right? So ancillary market, not plant touching license, because you still kind of have to have a license, you know, for a brand, if I'm not mistaken, or is there a way to kind of, you know, do that through your processor, you know, partnership and
Yeah,
such?
you kind of shimmy
Yeah.
around that.
Yeah, we did a joint venture with our.
Copy. Okay. Okay. So I keep talking about the ancillary cannabis market, right? And I know that like for our viewers and listeners, you know, what y'all are really kind of describing in terms of these action points, they direct to a whole side of the cannabis industry that most people still don't fully understand.
Right.
That being the ancillary cannabis industry. But before we go any further, like hold on, me have to drop in on my Jamaican patois and say, we are gearing up for a word.
A
That-
word.
Going back to my last episode, a word is where you drop in some gems. So we're gearing up for a word because y'all gonna drop some gems. So I wanna slow it down and level set for our audience. And just basically in plain language, what ancillary actually means. businesses, companies that provide products and services to support the licensed industry, but do not directly touch or handle the cannabis plant at all, like branding and marketing and apparel and lifestyle and accessories, media, tech, legal, education, finance, insurance, mechanical repair, events, design, and content. Pretty much, that's good, right?
Ancillary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ancillary. So let me tap y'all back in now. So do you believe that the ancillary side of cannabis is one of the most accessible entry points, particularly for Black founders, veterans, and people without deep capital, and why?
Absolutely. I mean, the capital is what kicks everything off. If you don't have that, you miss a lot of opportunities. So you have to figure out where the other ones are, in a brand partnership like we have with Silly Nice is one of those ways.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it was because of your access to storytelling for folks, founders, Black, brown, veterans, et cetera, having access to them and telling their stories that you were able to, in essence now, have access to processors and the like to really understand who's got good product, who's processing extremely well, who understands the science and the chemistry, to then sort of formulate how you could, in essence, like fortify a partnership that would make sense.
Exactly. I would say you have to bring a value for a processor to take you. It's like we have a half and half partnership. If we didn't have anything to kind of bring to the table to kick that off, like why would they take us? So you have to bring something to the table.
Okay. So sometimes, opportunities, I think they get misunderstood, and that can stop people before they even start. And that's part of what we're trying to really dismantle and sort of like flesh out for folks, at home, because I know there are definitely entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs that are out there sort of thinking, how can I? What's the biggest misconception that people have, in your opinion, when they assume building a cannabis brand is easy compared to owning a license?
Good question.
It's definitely not easy.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it. I mean, it took us about 11 months before we actually launched of designing and, sample boxes and creating vape pens and then narrowing down exactly what products we wanted and taste testing and all that.
So you mean nobody did that for you? Didn't walk into
We're
the office
very
like, oh, we got this
hands-on.
whole thing already
No.
set up for you right here? No.
Oh, no.
No, we were in Photoshop. We were making the calls. We were looking for the better deal, seeing how we can save money, getting things made here in the United States versus overseas, and that helps cut time. So it took a lot to bring it to fruition.
So let's I think jump into the soup to nuts, the how, right? The how you actually can build a brand and how it actually gets built. So we got the concept of vision, right? But if you were to say come upon an aspiring build brand or entrepreneur, right? And what would be the first sort of advice, instruction that you would impart upon them?
Figured out what you actually want to put out and who your customer is going to be.
Who your customer is going to be? Okay, yeah. Oh wow.
Also looking deep before you leap. Judge Maybelline Ephraim used to say that, if you're familiar with her. Look deep before you leap, far as partnerships. Just take things very slow, methodical. And
Have a great lawyer.
A great lawyer.
That's
okay. Well,
key.
that's an interesting thing to delve into, because there's the legal setup, right? Structure. That entity, that company. You talked about a partnership, because the partnership is probably with an entity. So, is there any like quick little tidbits on the structure? Is it an LLC? Is it a corporation? Is it like
Ours is a 501c3.
a 501c3?
Yeah.
That's a nonprofit. Okay.
Yes.
Tax exempt. Okay. Y'all did a whole different. Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, we have aspirations of having our own programs and charitable things here.
Wow, I love that. Absolutely love that. I guess you sort of touched on product and design and packaging. That was part of your 11-month process to actually, before going forward. What really kind of went into that you could share with some of the
Well, for packaging, we wanted stuff that was made here in the United States, stuff that was earth friendly. So we went with a U.S.-based company that makes plastic out of ocean-bound plastic. Boxes are made out of hemp. Our glass is made out of recycled glass. And making sure that it's made here in the United States so that if we need it quickly, we're not waiting on shipping or tariffs or all this other bullshit.
In terms of cannabis marketing, because a brand requires support, right? It just doesn't come on the shelves and it sells itself.
Right.
What can you share in terms of just the marketing aspect, the marketing and community?
I mean, for us, marketing comes natural because we're naturally marketers and in public relations and media. So for us, we've been building brands for almost 20 years for other people. So for us, it kind of came naturally. It's just communicating what our products are and speaking to the people.
No, that's what's up. It's a thing when you have an exciting, team or guests on. The time flies. So I know we have to bring you back. Got to bring you back. This is a part 2. This is a part 2 that's coming. Y'all heard it here. And so we're going to bring you back. But before I jump into the close, future advice. What does 2026 look like for Silly Nice?
I'd say more of the same.
Yeah, continue to hustle.
Yeah, we're just continuing to get in more dispensaries. Right now we're in 125 dispensaries around the state. We've got a few new concentrate products that are coming out this year. And then we're always thinking about expansion, hopefully at some point outside of New York as well.
That's amazing. All right. Well, I'm here for all of it. I can't wait to have you back. LeVar, Shane, thank you so much for pulling back the curtain and showing what ownership can actually look like for us in cannabis. As I said, we'd love to have you back real soon. This
Thanks,
conversation
Jamil. Yeah,
matters
anytime.
because it proves you don't need a plant-touching license to build power.
You don't.
You need clear vision, discipline, and community. Not everybody needs millions, but everybody does need a plan.
You do.
Fam, this has been Let's Talk Cannabis. We'll see you next time.
Did you know that in New York, it's illegal to drive after smoking weed? Many believe recreational cannabis is a free pass, but that's not true. Even if you only have a little green in your system, you can be pulled over and face serious charges. And it gets worse. If someone is smoking in your car, you can still get a ticket, even if you weren't the one lighting up. Police are cracking down on impaired driving to keep roads safe. So if you enjoy cannabis, remember, never drive high. It's not just dangerous, it's illegal. Your rights are important, but so are your responsibilities. Always opt for a sober ride or use designated drivers. Knowledge is power, especially with the laws changing all the time. Stay informed, stay safe, and drive responsibly in the city that never sleeps.
Why are there not more people talking about cannabis in New York?
This segment fixes that.
Real voices.
Real answers.
Hey, we're Cannabis in the City.
Let's talk about cannabis, what you heard.
We hit the sidewalks to amplify community voices.
What people think they know.
And what they don't.
Many New Yorkers still don't know cannabis is legal.
Or what that even means. Career paths?
Most aren't hearing about those opportunities. Safe use.
The truth about legalization.
Are missing from way too many chats.
Subscribe to Cannabis in the City on YouTube.
Listen on all podcast platforms.
Support CJEI. Donate, share, stay informed.
Welcome back, everybody, to Justice in Cannabis. I'm your host and co-legal director of the Justice Lab, Sean Farrell. With me, as always, is my partner in crime or in law, Jeffrey Hossman, my co-legal director and my co-host for tonight. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back. We thought it would be quite fitting to kick off the new year with our State of the Cannabis address. Last week, Governor Hochul delivered her State of the State. And in it, she gave us some key tidbits or key victories that we were finally hoping for. Yeah, better late than never, but never late is even better. So tonight, we're going to talk about not only the promise of what was supposed to have been delivered with the legalization of cannabis, but we're going to talk about the reality, where we're at now and where we're headed here, and what we need both our governors, our legislators, and you to all do. So let's kick it off. Jeff, one of the promises of the legalization of cannabis was having a bunch of card licenses, right? That's a conditional use adult, retail dispensary license. A mouthful, right? The short of it is, basically, you want to shop, you need to get a license here. Was that promise fulfilled?
So the card license came out of something that the Office of Cannabis Management wanted to do. So the law itself talked about social and economic equity licenses and how those were going to work. And initially, that was going to be minority-owned businesses, woman-owned businesses, distressed farmers, disabled veterans. There's going to be a whole host of folks that the law contemplated having special dispensations for in the licensing process. The Office of Cannabis Management took a look at it and said, the people that were most harmed by what happened in the state of New York, by all the anti-cannabis enforcement, these are folks that have cannabis convictions. So they set up a program, this card license, you said it's quite a mouthful, C-A-U-R-D. And the idea was that you had to have a cannabis conviction. Initially, they had it be in the state of New York, but there's a legal problem with that, so they had to
talk about that in a
kind of
moment.
expand it. And you also had to demonstrate that you had successfully owned and operated a business that was profitable for 2 years.
Right.
And the whole idea behind this is that the state was going to give out 150 licenses, and they literally were going to build the dispensaries for these individuals. They were going to
There was a fund for that, right? If
Correct.
I'm not mistaken,
this
about
was
$200
called the
million.
DASNY Fund. That's the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York.
Right.
This is the organization that built all of the dormitories at the state-run universities across the state, and then over time has just grown to take over the entire real estate portfolio of the state. There was a little bit of a conflict of interest at the beginning, we believe, because a gentleman that was on the Cannabis Control Board was the head of DASNY. So it was very interesting that this program got created and said, okay, we're now going to give you hundreds of millions of dollars to go build these dispensaries. The problem is that it was going to be orchestrated where the state put in $50 million, and they were going to somehow go and get $150 million of financing from somewhere. From the ether, from some investors. And that never happened.
Nothing happened.
Well, some things did happen. I don't want to say nothing happened, but certainly 150 dispensaries were not built for these licensees. What ended up happening is about 20 or 30 individuals ended up leasing what are called DASNY stores. So the state did lease the properties or buy them and build out the dispensary. And then there's some question into how good of a deal they gave these folks, as far as the rent, as far as the percentage rate they were going to pay on the money for the build-out and all of these types of things. It's a little bit of a push and pull there. It was a big difference from saying we're just going to build your dispensary and here you go. So anything was a little too much. People did complain about the interest rates, although I would note that cannabis is still illegal federally in the United States, and you really weren't going to get better interest rates on this money than what they were offering. It's still very high compared to what other businesses could get, but that argument, where were you ever going to get money at this rate in cannabis? But it didn't matter. They didn't build the 200 dispensaries. Like I said, I think somewhere around 20 or 30 stores opened in these DASNY spaces. But as we're going to kind of talk about here, this was a tremendous promise that the state made. We're going to roll out this program, and those of you who have these convictions, who probably don't have connections to capital networks, who probably don't have a way smartly or non-predatorily to raise the money for your store, we're going to help you with that key piece of the situation. We're going to take the most expensive piece of the puzzle of you getting open, that is your retail store, and we're going to take that burden off of you. And that was clearly a promise made by the state that they absolutely did not deliver on.
So there's a couple moving parts there. One is we certainly didn't get the 150 stores. In fact, from what you just said, it's about 20, 30, so we are woefully short of that, to say the least, right? And that might be putting it pretty nicely. The second part is there's no fund. Nobody has any money from which they can pull from to support their store or build out any other store. So that's two.
Exactly, and just to jump in on that, that was even supposed to be something that is completely separate. So again, the idea of having, we may talk about this a little bit, incubators and low or no interest loans to make available to these licensees, that is something that is clearly reflected in the law that we have not made good on. I do note, as you kind of mentioned, that the governor has proposed perhaps really taking some more steps towards that. But again, it was something that is in the law that we're now going to come up on the 5-year anniversary of the passage of the law. A lot of this has really not been implemented. I do want to say, however, that the licenses were given out. Now the question may be, what good is a license if you don't have the resources to be able to open the store? But at least New York did do something that no other state had done. No other state has had as forward-thinking of a program to give licenses to the people that were really impacted by the anti-cannabis enforcement in the state.
Well, you hit on 2 points. So we're going to take 2 parallel tracks at the same time. So stay with us for a second. So one part of it is, I get what you're saying. The justice impacted folks have had a chance to actually have a license and actually try to move forward with this. But there is some legal issues with that, some constitutional challenges as it relates to that, is there not?
So there's all kinds of challenges to everything. One of the lines that I've been saying pretty much the whole way we've gone here in New York is that you have to make your regulations so that they're not easily challengeable.
Correct.
If you make a regulation that to any attorney clearly violates the U.S. Constitution or clearly violates the cannabis law, does something different, and CARD was no different. In the cannabis law, it said the first retail dispensary application period had to be open to everyone at the same time.
Correct.
What did the office do instead? They did CARD first. And again, not that CARD wasn't good, but they did not open the first retail dispensary application period to everyone at the same time. They did CARD clearly first.
Correct.
And the only way you could possibly have qualified for CARD, as we said, you had to have that cannabis conviction. So by definition, it wasn't open to everyone at the same time. And so it made it very easy for attorneys to come in and sue and get injunctions. You just go to the judge. Judges have cases about everything. No judge can be an expert in everything. So if it's easy to go to the judge and say, Your Honor, here's the law where it says the application had to be open to everybody, and here's what they actually did where they made it clear you had to have a cannabis conviction to even qualify. The judge says they didn't follow the law, injunction, right? And that delays everything, and it makes it harder to get money. You may already have a lease, and then you have an injunction for 6 months while you're paying money on your lease, waiting for the injunction to get lifted so you can proceed with opening your store. This is what happens.
So what you're talking about there is a violation of the Dormant Commerce Clause, essentially here. And we're seeing challenges both in the First Circuit up in Maine, in that area, Second Circuit here in New York, as well as the Ninth Circuit. And so that's a whole legal mess. And the other parallel track, just before we finish out here, is the fact that with all these holes and gaps here, we've seen just an explosion of illicit stores here. At last count, there's some estimates between 3,000 and 4,000 illegal stores just in New York City alone. I mean, I can't imagine if we add in the rest of the state. So what is the call to action that we need to abide by at this point? What do we need?
So the issue here was when you legalize in a state, you can do it one of 2 ways.
Talk to me.
You can legalize first and then build the infrastructure to open your market second, which is what we did here in New York. Or you can start building the infrastructure, get ready for it, and then legalize.
That would have been smart.
Well, I mean, it's tougher to do that, and particularly when you have a lot of people getting arrested for cannabis.
Sure.
It's tougher to do that. And New York, that had New York City, which was the worst city on planet Earth for anti-cannabis enforcement, they said we're going to legalize first, and then we're going to build the plane as we're flying it. The unfortunate problem with that is that New Yorkers are very crafty.
Yeah.
And so you had bodegas that were already selling loosies anyway. You know, they got a joint or 2 under the counter. And then they said, I heard cannabis is legal now. You know what? I'm going to take it out from under the counter and I'm going to put it behind me behind me when I'm standing at the cash register. And nobody got busted. And they said, you know what? I'm going to take out a row in my store. I'm going to put cannabis in that and see what happens.
Yeah.
And nobody got busted. So they said, you know what? I'm going to rip out all my coolers and everything, and I'm just basically going to become a cannabis store. And that is what happened in New York. Cannabis was legal, but there were no stores where people could get it. And so New Yorkers are crafty. They want their cannabis.
And they want it now.
And they want it now. And the purveyors of cannabis in the state said, we're going to get a way to get it to you. So yes, this is a tremendous problem. The legislature finally realized they had a problem after 2 years. We were telling them for the first 2 years of the program, you got to fix this. They didn't. They finally are listening now. I'm working with a number of groups that are dealing with this. Later this week, I'm having a meeting with Senator Liz Kruger and the NYPD and the sheriff to really start getting people focused on this. But this is what we got to do. We got to get the right people to talk to your elected officials. If you care about this, you go and talk to your elected officials, and they got to pass more rules that make it tougher on the illicit cannabis stores.
So here we are. We have the call to action. One, we need emergency legislation now. We need something that's going to fix this, that's going to be clear, that's going to be fair, and going to streamline this process here on how you get licenses. The next thing we need is we need all the players, all the stakeholders here to crack down on illegal shops. The people doing it the right way, they should be supported. That should be pushed out into the open, and that's where we should focus on. Everybody who's not, I'm sorry, but we can't keep that. If we have a legal market here, this is where our focus should be. This is where our efforts should be. And the last thing is money. We know this is a money game, right? This is all about capitalism. We need capital here. So the governor, I know you said in the state of state that you're going to give money to this effort, this endeavor here. Well, now it's time to talk the talk, but more importantly, walk the walk. This is Justice in Cannabis. I'm Sean Farrell. This is Jeffrey Hoffman. Spark and change.
From handcuffs to paychecks,
NYC's $3.5 billion cannabis industry needs you.
while 94% of marijuana arrests hit people of color,
The legal market is booming with over 60,000 jobs coming online. That's where Cannabis in the City comes in.
we're bringing you real talk
Real stories,
and real justice from the front lines of New York's cannabis transformation.
from Let's Talk Cannabis to our Corner Boyz segments.
We're breaking down the scene with truth, tools, and community.
Watch justice-impacted New Yorkers turn their lived experience into career opportunities.
Subscribe to Cannabis in the City on YouTube. Let's spark the conversation.
1 in 10 kids vape. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.
Welcome to Corner Boyz, and yes, I am Miss Kitty Rose, and I am not a corner boy. However, on today's or this month's episode of Cannabis in the City, when we have our Corner Boyz section, I've been asked to co-host the original Corner Boyz of the Corner Boyz segment. Now, he's not the original corner boy, but he started this segment, and he wanted to showcase himself today and not have a guest. He actually wanted to be the guest. Who am I talking about? The person that you normally see handling this seat, Professor Terrence Coffie. So today on Corner Boyz, yes, I am your special guest host, Miss Kitty Rose, and I will be taking you on a journey of what Corner Boyz actually is, how it started, and who is the original Corner Boyz of Cannabis in the City. Let's all welcome Professor Coffie.
Thank you so much for doing this, and I'm super excited to be here. I'm also super excited for the work that's being done in this space and your commitment to this vision and this work at Kitty Rose Productions. So thank you for co-hosting and being a part of this vision.
Amen. So we're going to get right into it because you know the segment isn't that long and we all know how you could talk.
Yeah.
So we want to give you this space and this time to talk about Corner Boyz, but really to talk about who Professor Coffie is before, after, and right now. So Corner Boyz is a segment that we host every month that actually focuses on those that have been incarcerated and what life now looks like outside of incarceration.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that means that you were incarcerated?
Yeah, I was once incarcerated once upon a time.
Professor Coffie?
Was incarcerated, yeah.
Oh, snucks now, okay.
Yeah.
Talk to us. How did before incarceration, like how old were you? How long did you serve, if you mind sharing that with us?
I was first incarcerated at age 20. I was, most of the guys who hit us, I was off the porch by the time I was 17. By the time I was 20, I was already incarcerated for sales and drugs and distribution and all of that. Part of the work that I do today, not to jump the gun, I spent over 19 years incarcerated with 6 prison bids in the getting, going back and forth through that cycle, what we refer to as the ecosystem of our criminal legal system in America. And I think that one of the things that really stood out for me in those prisons that I found myself in was the number of black and brown folk that were inside those cages. And sometimes when you're living that life, you don't see it for what it is at the time. You just know you're in it. And it was only through my last incarceration, 17 years ago, that I found myself with the opportunities through education to kind of go on to do some of the stuff that I'm doing today. And I'm trying to slow it down so that'll give you time to unpack some stuff.
So while you were in the last bid,
Yeah.
because I'm assuming the way that you talk, you did a couple of bids.
Yes.
So the last bid was how long?
Last bid was 8 years.
So why I'm asking you how long was the last bid is, what changed inside? Like, okay, you start to see the brown and black community is the ones who's mostly engaged with you, but did something change that last bid? Did something change in between bids? Like,
No,
what?
I attribute everything that I am today. I have a lot of people that, that mentor me and have been an inspiration to me. One of our hosts, Jamil, Myrie, he don't know it, Jeffrey Hoffman, these people. But the first person that really influenced me and, it kind of led to where I'm at today was an OG by the name of Chin. This was an individual who told me to go to school. I didn't have my GED at the time, and this individual told me I need to take my young ass to school. And when an OG, most guys know when a G tell you something, he's not telling you, he's not asking you to do nothing, he's telling you. And from there, I actually enrolled in the GED program.
So that someone, you said an OG was
Chin.
the one, okay.
Chin.
Okay.
And the thing about
So
it,
you met him inside?
yeah, I met Chin
Okay.
inside. We was on what we call a work assignment. Anybody who know, you get a work assignment. And Chin was doing a 60-year bid. And it was this cat that told me one day I went in because I used to read a lot. And I come in talking that talk, the young YN. I was a YN then. I'm an OG now. I was a YN. And I came in one day and he told me, you need to take your young ass to school. And when he said that, he wasn't asking me. You don't ask when the G say that to you. He's telling you what to do. I enrolled in our GED program. I ended up earning my GED. I then went on to start doing some other things in prisons, but I always have to give a shout out to that individual because I never had a chance to thank him for telling me that in that moment in time. And that began a process of where I'm at today in my life and the work that I do in advocacy and all of that.
So what was that prep like on your way home now? So 8 years, you got some revelation from the OG, you're about to come home. What happens when you come home?
I was asked to get involved in a transitional program that helps men who are coming home from prison.
Okay.
I got involved in that program here in New York, and in doing that, I was asked to take a placement test. There was a program here that helps individuals pursue higher education because I had this GED. I was a little bit older, and I figured out what I'm gonna do, so I figured I would hopefully go to school and become a case manager or something. I don't know what I thought in my mind, but this organization got me involved with this program. I did my first 2 years at Bronx Community College, and because of what transpired with my grades there, I was offered a scholarship to New York University. And I think that, one of the defining moments for me, because my entire life, I internalized a lot of things about myself, even with the segment we called Corner Boyz, because I thought that that's all I could ever be. I thought that was to fulfill, the fullness of my life. And learning that I was smart, learning to see grace, learning all these different things about myself, really began to usher me forward. And during that process, I began to meet some amazing men. I call them beautiful black men, and I can say that today like a real thug and know what that means from when I say that. That really helped shape my life and kind of usher me forward into the work that I do today as an advocate.
Well, let's get into that. What work are you doing right now as an advocate? Because we don't need to jump forward from the time that you came home and graduated. Well, matter of fact, let me because when I first met you, I was sent a video that I thought we was going to show the audience today.
I thought we were going to show the audience.
But I ain't mad at your video that you probably show everybody that you first meet.
Absolutely.
What is this video? You said absolutely.
Absolutely.
What is the video, Professor Coffie?
The video was my graduation from New York University.
Okay.
I graduated NSAW Student of the Year, President's Service Award recipient, Service Award, Coca-Cola All Academic Team, New York State. I get to say all that stuff, but a lot of times I say it intentionally because I'm not only a professor at New York University where I graduated from, I'm also part of our NYU prison education program where I teach a course inside of Walk Hill Correctional Institution. And the reason I say that is because I tap into the potential of those men who are currently incarcerated to let them know and remind them, and they see the embodiment of their potential through my life. Because, you know, those years I spent there, a society or world will tell you you have no value, you have no purpose, you have no direction. And to be able to be where I'm at today, I say that intentionally because that work is intentional to the men and communities that I work in and that I advocate for, and the ones that I've been part of legislation here in New York for the less is more legislation that was reform surrounding probation and parole reform. Particularly also another piece of legislation I worked on was the ban the box legislation.
And what do you mean when you say worked on? Like, did you write a letter, or did you?
No,
go
I was part of the
Albany?
advocacy.
Were you a part of the change the bill? What does that mean?
A lot of that work was utilizing my own lived experience and giving testimony and testifying, speaking with elected officials here, supporting that legislation, going to Albany, and speaking with elected officials to ensure that legislation passed.
So was that a learned skill set that you had, speaking in front of large audiences? Because, I mean, Corner Boyz, you know, that's in the cut. You know, you ain't supposed to be known until only to the people who are looking for you. You supposed to stay on the low. And then when you're incarcerated, you're supposed to keep your head down, stay low. So how did someone who spent so many years now become this public person?
I think that, you know, a lot of what we talk about through our 16-week program with CJEI is having transferable skills. I was always a cat who could talk because, you know, I still dealt with the community in the years that I sold drugs. I still had to negotiate deals, whether it was a dope sale, it was this, and all of that was always there. And part of the other that came was during my years at NYU, where I actually got into policy and realizing how policy can impact. And there's a good friend of mine who he's a great mentor to me today, Glenn Martin. He shared something when I first came home. He said that those closest to the problem are also those closest to the solution. Amen. And when I heard that, it reminded me of my own lived experience and the value of what my voice could mean in impacting change in the lives of those individuals who are currently incarcerated, who were incarcerated, who were impacted by, you know, the system, not just when we think about the carceral spaces, but when we think about the communities that they come from, when we think about policies, systemic practices within our society that really impeded upon their lives, which was the development of this organization and the launch of it with Jeffrey Hoffman and Jamil Myrie for CJEI, which really focused on ensuring that those individuals that were most harmed by anti-cannabis enforcement were given opportunities in this industry and to ensure that they can have a promising future.
These minutes go by fast.
Too fast.
Now I know what you feel like each month when you have your guests. So I want to wrap up this segment But I want to talk about so many things that you're involved in. So can you, in like a brief minute, because you got CB4J, you know, you got Cannabis in the City, you got the Tea program, you got the grants, the money that you're helping disperse in New York with people. You got what you teach. You are a husband. You are a father. And I hope you are a friend to folks. And then your own self-care of Professor Coffee Day. What are you doing? How do you want to wrap up? What do you want people to know about all those things to close out, about who Professor Terrence Coffee of the Corner Boyz segment is all about, and what he wants people to know what he stands for?
I think that my life really represents the best of what our communities can be. I think that my life is an example of when we invest in our communities and we invest in these spaces, that we can really see the outcomes of creating a new future. So part of my work is also, which you mentioned with CB4J, right across the street. I also lead a course right there at the juvenile facility across the street. I can't say its name. But I think that my life is a representation of all that we can, we can be in excellence in those achievements. I try to stay spiritually grounded, but I'm also grateful, and I really need to say this, to those individuals who believe in me, to kind of dream with me, allow me to dream with them in this ideal of who we can be as a people and what we can achieve collectively.
Wow. Well, this is the new year 2026 segment of Corner Boyz. And I am your host for this segment only, Kitty Rose. Next month, Professor Coffee will join you with another exciting guest. Until then, continue to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next month. Let's spark the conversation.
Comic Books for Justice was funded to do what many think is impossible: transform lives behind bars with comics, receiving the Community Leaders Grant from Citizens Committee for New York City. We will place 10,000 comics in correctional facilities across New York State through our Turning the Page initiative, in partnership with SUNY and Hudson Link for Higher Education in Prison. Comics drive literacy, hope, and real change. And we're just getting started. Next up, Comics in the City, bringing this power to youth across NYC. Want to fuel this movement? Become one of our 100 super friends. Donate now. Visit cb4j.org and help us turn the page on justice.
News updates.
Yes. Welcome back. This is Community News, where we bring to you, the community, the news that is on and going in our very beloved New York City, about, around, and all through the cannabis space. So, my man, do you want to kick off with some news, or you got some tea? What you got?
I don't know. I got some tea, some coffee, some soda, some water. But nah. So yeah, as Jamil said, this is the spot where we want to keep you informed, updated on everything that's happening in cannabis in New York City, as far as events and this and that and everything that's going on. So I also wanted to, so just so you know, I think it is Free the Green. It's going to be hosting their 4th anniversary edition on February 1st. And I think it's OSNYC at 50 Bowery, so that's going to be an amazing opportunity for our community to get involved there and to learn more about what's happening there. And it's a celebration of the intersection of cannabis, gaming, and the hip-hop culture, hosted by Redman, featuring a basketball tournament and networking event that'll be taking place as well.
Oh, that's dope.
Boom, yeah,
I think I'm gonna have to come through for that. Hip-hop
Redman was method. See, y'all know I'm from the South, so when y'all say Redman, he was somewhat. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, you know which group?
No.
Oh, see. You're gonna need to do the research and.
I was gonna say Wu-Tang, but
Google
I
it.
think I'm off, right?
No, you're right. And so we also have Bonnie's Mahjong table on February 5th, 2026. It will be located at Superfly Dispensary. If y'all don't know, that spot is super beautiful. Oh, it's located at 57 West 86th Street in Manhattan. It is a social gaming event featuring Eaton Botanicals. So y'all got to definitely come through.
Also, and I know we're giving you a lot, but we got to give you a lot. February 6th, the Manhattan Visitors Exchange will be taking place at Pier 86 here in New York City at 299 South Street. And it is a vendors exchange for industry working and deal making, where you get to meet a lot of people. And we hope to have some of our partners who you saw here today from Silly Nights, will be definitely highlighting some of this stuff with their own follow-up with some stuff going on.
So just to really kind of sort of hook onto that a little bit, because of our segment with Silly Nice and that segment that we talked about, this is the community aspect, this is the networking aspect, this is the deal-making aspect. So this is where you can really come in and start to make some stickiness, some sticky connections, right? So come through that event. Those are the beginning steps to actually getting to the step where you can form a partnership and build a brand. Next event that we have here is on February 8th, yoga at Misha's. Misha's Flower Shop, located at 299 Knickerbocker Avenue, Bushwick, Brooklyn. What you mean? And that is an elevated yoga session that'll be held on the second Sunday of the month. So come stretch, ain't no Bikram, but you can definitely get your yoga on, all right? Cool.
Get your yoga on February 12th. Okay. Also, again, I know we're giving you a lot of dates, but you can follow this on our calendar. Also, you'll be seeing this where you can go to our site and get all these dates. The Flower Expo will be taking place at the local New York City at the DL rooftop at 95 Delancey in the Lower East Side. You got that on your shirt?
Do you have any flowers?
I think you got a flower on there, yep. And this will be a premiere of the B2B Cannabis Trade Show. It's a one-night meetup designed to connect brands and buyers. The event features networking, industry insights, a rooftop, consumption-friendly place. So, do your thing when you're going to be there and coming out and hanging out. Well, we got a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, and the audience there, really, we're targeting, this event targets dispensary managers, bud tenders, industry professionals. Again, you want to show up someplace and start to make some inroads into this industry? That's where you need to be. These are the places you need to be.
Exactly.
So, folks, y'all can't say we didn't tell you anything. Come on. So, February 13th, this is the day before Valentine's, y'all.
I think that's where
Art Week.
Art Week? Is this the
Weed Art Week at Canavita, right? Ooh. And this location is located in Steinway Street, Astoria, Queens. It's a free art exhibition.
This is one that Kitty Rose was talking about.
This is one you were talking about?
She want to go arting.
All right, well, this featuring local artists in the context of cannabis culture. All right?
That's deep.
Yeah.
The poetry and smoke shop.
That's the one that she was talking about.
She want to do poetry.
You jumped the gun.
She's going to be, what's that name, Lauryn Hill? I can see her doing her Lauryn Hill.
Oh,
at the February 26th at the Dynasty Commodities.
February 21st.
21st at 2119 Frederick Douglass Boulevard, right down there over, I was going to say right here in Harlem. Right there in Harlem at Frederick Douglass Boulevard. It will be an open mic session, slam event.
Poetry slam? Ooh.
You know what? She got that vibe about her, too. What? She looked like she can do some Lauryn Hill. Like,
my sister, she's a poetry slam, like, for real. She gets it done. Yeah. So, I mean, fam, like, there's so much that's happening in February. Like, and we're giving you so much information, the resources, the on-ramps, really kind of highlighting those events where you really, if you're about, making those inroads, finding those on-ramps to making connections in this industry, these are some really hallmark events where you can really begin to dip your toe in and try to figure out, like, yo, where do I fit? What can I learn? Who can I meet, you know? Because there's a way to ownership without a license, and that's a plant touching license.
And I think that a lot of these events, like in your earlier session with LeVar and Shane, they really speak about the importance of networking, getting to know people, getting to connect with people.
Absolutely.
And with that, we also want to definitely give you give a shout out to Silly Nice. Make sure you guys tap into Silly Nice, learn more about their products, their brand, and the work that they're doing right here in New York, giving voice, insight, and exposure to not only what's happening into the industry, but also the new products that are hitting the market.
And that's a Black and veteran-owned brand.
For real,
And we're
for
not
real.
plugging this on some, oh, they're paying us, because look, this is the community, and we gotta support ours in order to see ours do well and thrive in this space. So really look out, go to your dispensaries, your local dispensaries, ask about Silly Nice. They're in 125 locations throughout the state. You know, so they're in there, they're on the shelves, but we need them to be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? We really got to support ours. We want to thank Travel Agency, of course, because they really are day one supporters of the work that we do, particularly Cannabis in the City, you know, and what they do in their support for our program. We want to thank Kitty Rose, a Lifestyle Productions, because
Lifestyle Productions.
Yo, seriously, like, this wouldn't happen, all of this, without her, and her energy, her love, and her support is really a major, major, major thrust for us to keep on going. And we got a lot. 2026, y'all, buckle up. You know what I'm saying?
She be bullying me, though.
I mean, she's gonna have to. Somebody got bullied you.
She be bullying me.
Private Benjamin. And so, you know, with all the love in our hearts and what we have to look forward to for 2026, we need your love. We want your support. We need your support. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please, because that just helps us to continue to do what we need to do here. You know, people who want to support an organization that want to support us need to see that we have traction, that we have stickiness. So please support us. Donate. Go to www.thecjei.org and you will find your spot right there. Donate.
Donate.
Donate. Click. Donate.
Please
support this work.
Yeah, I want to give a big shout out to our CJEI Justice Lab.
Oh, absolutely.
Sean Farrell, Jeffrey Hoffman, who have been doing tremendous work right here in New York City and throughout the state to ensure that this work is based in and continues to be equity-driven and equity recognized.
Absolutely.
So it's amazing.
And again, find us on all the podcast platforms, all right? YouTube, we already spoke about it. Podcast platforms. You donate, I gotta underscore that, donate, and subscribe, please. We wanna thank our very, very special guests, Silly Nice, LeVar, and Shane. Thank you so much, and we will be coming back for part two, because there's a lot more that they got to share. And I do actually wanna extend an extremely, extremely special thank you to our very special guest on this show, you.
No, I just want to talk.
You drop a word. What do you mean? Words. No, but seriously, man, thank you for sharing your story. I know how deeply emotional it is, and I'm so very proud of you. You are an inspiration to me, you know, from the very first day that I met you, and I just enjoyed listening to you share your story, not somebody else telling it, but you sharing it. So thank you for that.
And with that, we want to say thank you guys for joining us next. We see you, remember, visit us, see us, connect with us, and we look forward to seeing you the next time.
This is Cannabis in the City. Let's spark the conversation.
There we go.
Through hallways and alleys, dark days I carry, sharp pains and bellies. All days be heavy when you're programmed to survive. Legendary ciphers get the MCs in the jobs. The city never sleeps, slept from 1 to 5. When COVID hit the block and we had to stay inside. Tough love is all I know, so be gentle with myself. Learn to navigate winters with no coat. If you never been cold, you never been broke. Hustle 24/7 just to stay afloat. So New York, like dollar pizza in the cold. What shit? That real life grit from the heart of the city is as hard as it gets. This that New York shit. That real life grit from the heart of the city is as hard as it gets. This that New York shit. That